we're all prideful. We're roughly the same age, mid-40s, and coaches especially are very competitive, very edgy, very prideful, not necessarily touchy-feely guys. So I would imagine that on some level it's hard to keep that. On the one hand, you're driving guys, but on the other hand, you want to keep that open mind. So when you do make a mistake that you haven't realized you've made, and they're pointing it out to you, that your pride doesn't get in the way of receiving that. I would imagine that's kind of something to manage all the way through life.
Well,
really.
it's like admitting to your wife that you were wrong, and you've played the "we're not talking to each other" game for 3 or 4 days, and then coming in and saying I was wrong. That's one of the hardest things to do. It's the same thing with your players. They ultimately know in the long run. They can tell. Sometimes a player is wrong. They know it. The discipline a coach puts on a player, they may not like it at the time, but they realize it's fair. It's no different when you sit down and with your kids in the house and say, I was wrong, I shouldn't have got that upset with you. That's the hardest thing for us to do, especially athletes, people that are in our profession, coaches, because of the pride issue, as you mentioned earlier. But I think it's the most important thing we can do.
Are you temperamental? Are you the kind of guy who gets real mad and then feels bad about it afterwards, or do you more of an even
I'm doing better.
You strike me as that, but I don't know you.
I'm doing better with that. I'm really a softie. I have a big heart for people and kids and things like that, and I believe in second chances. We've given so many second chances to players, and it's been successful, and it's worked out for them. Some of them it doesn't, but I believe in that. But I am that way. I get upset and then realize, gosh, I shouldn't have done that. And but I have learned to go back in and say, you know what, I'm sorry, let's move forward, and I think that's best.
Without holding back your passion, right? I always say there's a difference between emotion and intensity.
No question. And I have a mixture of that. I get emotional at times because one thing that I found in coaching, I really enjoy what I do because of the players. I see them come in at 18, and a lot of them are clueless. They don't think they have to go to class and don't have to wake up early. They're so far from being ready to go out there in the real world. Then they leave at 22 or 23, and we think that we've prepared them for society. And so I get very emotional in those situations because we've had an impact on that young man's life.
You mentioned Boone Pickens. What an unbelievable resource for you. Not only the hundreds of millions of dollars that he spends on facilities, which is nice, but I mean, you're talking about an interesting life. I mean, he's been down, he's been out, and now he's got billions. He's lived, he's seen a lot, he's learned a lot. Tell me one thing that you've learned from him in his business, in his world, that you can apply to your job.
Well, several things. It's really hard to pin down because, as you said, he's been there and done that and seen just about everything. One thing he's always said is don't be predictable. People don't want you to be predictable, whatever it is you choose to do. And the other thing is I don't know if there's been anybody that's made as much money and lost as much money, and made as much money and lost as much money as he has, and then come up with a way to do it differently most of the time. And he's always been really good at putting a team together. He's had a group of people that have worked with him for 45, 50 years. And no matter what the profession is, whether it's oil and gas or hedge funds, whatever it may be, he's always had that group of people, and they've been very successful.